There is a specific kind of pain that does not have a loud entrance. It does not arrive all at once like a sudden loss or a dramatic betrayal. It creeps in quietly, slowly, in the spaces between moments you thought were good. It builds in the background of a relationship you believed in, a friendship you invested in, a person you trusted completely, and by the time you finally feel it fully, you realize it has been there for a long time. You just did not have the language for it yet. It is the pain of realizing that someone you genuinely cared about never quite cared back the same way. Not because you were not worthy of care, not because you did something wrong, but because while you were showing up with your whole heart, they were showing up with an agenda. While you were building something real, they were extracting something useful. While you were falling deeper into the connection, they were simply taking what they needed and filing you neatly into the category of convenient. And the most disorienting part of all of it is that you did not see it coming. Because they were good at it, because they said the right things, because they showed up just enough to keep you close, because every time you started to feel uncertain, something happened that made you feel foolish for doubting them at all. That is not an accident. That is a pattern, and it has a name. If you have ever poured yourself into a relationship, a friendship, a working partnership, or any human connection only to eventually discover that the other person was never in it the way you were, this is for you. Not to make you bitter, not to make you paranoid, but to give you the clarity, the language, and the awareness you deserved from the very beginning. Because once you can see the pattern, they can never use it on you again. The uncomfortable truth about being used. Let us start with something that most people find genuinely difficult to accept. Being used by someone does not always look like an obvious transaction. It does not always feel cold or mechanical or clearly one-sided in the moment. In fact, some of the most skilled users are the warmest people you will ever meet. They laugh with you. They remember small details about your life. They show up at exactly the right moments. They make you feel chosen, valued, and special. But here is what they are doing beneath all of that. They are investing the minimum amount of emotional currency required to keep you giving them the maximum amount of what they need. Whether that is your time, your resources, your emotional support, your connections, your loyalty, or simply the comfort of knowing you will always be there. They have calculated, consciously or not, exactly how much warmth they need to dispense to keep you available. And the reason this is so hard to recognize is because it feels like care. It looks like care. It mimics care so closely that your own heart vouches for them again and again, even when something quieter inside you is trying to wave a flag. That quiet something deserves to be heard. And today, we are going to help you hear it. The relationship only moved when they needed something. Look back at the rhythm of the relationship, not the highlights, not the best moments, the actual consistent rhythm of how and when they showed up. Did they reach out consistently or primarily when something was happening in their life? Did the deep conversations tend to revolve around their problems, their needs, their circumstances? Did they seem genuinely present and engaged when they needed your ear, your help, or your energy, but somehow harder to reach or less interested when everything in their world was fine? Users do not maintain relationships at a steady emotional temperature. They heat up when they need something and cool down when they do not. If you were to chart the moments of closeness against the moments of distance, you would find a pattern that correlates almost perfectly with their need cycle, rather than any genuine desire to simply be in your life. A person who truly cares about you wants to be around you when things are good too. They call just to talk. They show up with no agenda. They invest in the relationship during the ordinary moments, not just the ones where they need something from you. Your needs were always secondary or invisible. Relationships in any form require a degree of reciprocity to be real. Not a perfect mathematical balance where every gesture is immediately returned, but a general sense that both people matter. that both people's struggles, needs, and emotional experiences are seen and acknowledged. Think about the times you needed support, really needed it. When you were going through something difficult, when you were struggling, when you reached out hoping for presence and care. What happened? Did they show up? Did they ask questions, sit with you, make space for what you were carrying? Or did they offer a quick and distracted response before steering the conversation back to themselves? Did your hard moments somehow always end up becoming a launching pad for their own stories? Did you find yourself consistently leaving interactions feeling like your needs had somehow not quite made it into the room? People who use others are not genuinely curious about those people's inner worlds. They are interested in what those people can provide. And because of that, your pain, your struggles, and your needs will consistently take a back seat to theirs. Not because they are having a bad day, but because that is simply the structure of how they relate to you. They were wonderful when they wanted something, and distant when they did not. This is perhaps the most consistent behavioral pattern of someone who is using you, and also the one that creates the most confusion for the person on the receiving end. Because the warmth is real in the moment. The laughter is genuine, the affection, the attention, the way they look at you like you are exactly who they want to be with. It all feels completely authentic, and maybe in that moment, on some level, it is. But then the thing they needed gets handled. The favor gets done, the emotional download gets completed, the situation resolves, and suddenly, almost imperceptibly, the warmth dials back down. They become harder to reach, slower to respond, less interested in making plans. The energy that was so present and alive just days ago seems to have quietly packed its bags without explanation. And then something else comes up, and they are back. Warm, present, attentive, and making you feel like the most important person in their world again. This cycle is deeply destabilizing to experience because it keeps you emotionally off balance. You spend the cold periods wondering what you did wrong and trying to get back to the warmth. And when the warmth returns, the relief is so strong that you stop asking questions. That cycle of hot and cold, of closeness and distance, of being everything to them and then nothing, is one of the clearest indicators that the relationship is being driven by their need rather than genuine connection. The effort was never equal, and you always explained it away. Think about who initiated, who planned, who followed up, who remembered important things, who made the effort to bridge the distance when it grew, who sent the first message after a silence, who suggested getting together, who put in the work to maintain what existed between you. If the answer is consistently and overwhelmingly you, that is important information. Now think about how you explained that imbalance to yourself. Because people who care about users almost always have an explanation ready. They are just busy. They are going through a hard season. They are not naturally expressive. They show love differently. They need time to warm up. They are dealing with a lot right now. And maybe some of those things were even partially true. But here is the question that cuts through all of it. Did it ever actually change? Did the effort ever balance out? Did there ever come a time when they initiated, planned, followed up, and showed up the way you consistently did for them? Or did the explanation just get recycled every time you notice the imbalance? A person who values your presence in their life finds ways to show it. Consistently, imperfectly, but genuinely. If the effort has always been yours to carry and the explanations have always been theirs to provide, that pattern is the answer to every question you have been afraid to ask. They disappeared when you finally needed them most. This is the moment that tends to bring everything into sharp and painful focus. A moment arrives in your life that is genuinely hard. A loss, a crisis, a period of real vulnerability where you need the people you have invested in to show up the way you have shown up for them. You reach out expecting what you have always given: presence, attention, care, someone in your corner, your And they are not there. Not really. Maybe they send a quick message. Maybe they offer a surface-level acknowledgement. But the depth of support you needed, the depth of support you would have given them without hesitation, is simply not available. Because that is the moment the transaction ends for a user. They have been drawing from your account steadily for months or years. But when it comes time for a deposit, the account is somehow always empty. They are too busy, too overwhelmed with their own things, too far away emotionally to really show up. And in that moment of clarity, as painful as it is, you finally see the shape of what this relationship actually was. Not what you hoped it was, not what you believed it was, but what it actually was all along. Your boundaries were tested and worn down consistently. Healthy people respect the word no. They may be momentarily disappointed, but they accept your limits without making you pay for having them. Users treat boundaries as obstacles, as negotiations, as something to be worn down through persistence, guilt, emotional pressure, or the subtle withdrawal of warmth until you come back around to yes. Think about the times you said no or tried to establish a limit with this person. How did they respond? Did they respect it cleanly? Or did they push back, make you feel guilty, give you the silent treatment, suddenly become less available, or simply keep asking in different ways until you gave in? If your no was never quite accepted as a final answer, if you found yourself consistently giving more than you wanted to because the cost of holding your boundary felt too high, that is not a relationship. That is a dynamic designed to keep you compliant and available. How to heal and move forward. Recognizing that you have been used does not make you naive. It does not make you weak. It does not mean you were foolish or that your love and care were wasted. It means you are a person of genuine depth and generosity who encountered someone who was not operating from the same place. Your capacity to care deeply is not the problem. It is one of your greatest qualities. The only thing that needs to change is who you aim that care toward. Start paying attention to consistency over intensity. Anyone can be warm and wonderful in a peak moment. What matters is who shows up in the ordinary ones. Start noticing whether the effort in your relationships flows in both directions. Start honoring the quiet voice inside you that notices when something feels off, even when the surface looks fine. And most importantly, understand that the pain you feel right now is not evidence that loving people was a mistake. It is evidence that you are capable of something real, something that the person who used you was never quite able to offer back. That capacity does not belong to them. It never did. Take it back, protect it, and give it only to those who have shown you, through consistent action over time, that they deserve it. Here is what I need you to hear before you go. You are not too much. You are not too giving. You are not too trusting or too open or too available. You are exactly who a good person should be in a relationship. You just gave those things to someone who was not equipped to receive them the way they deserved to be received. The problem was never you. The pattern was theirs. The lack was theirs. The inability to show up with genuine care and reciprocity was entirely theirs. And now that you can see it clearly, now that you have the language for what happened and the awareness to recognize it if it ever tries to happen again, you are no longer available for it. That is not bitterness, that is wisdom. And wisdom, unlike the people who tried to take advantage of your kindness, will never leave you when you need it most.